Which of the following is not a goal that schools have to fulfill in teaching their students? Option A says, go beyond simple literacy to teach concepts, their networks and frameworks, and disciplinary forms of reasoning to their students. This is a direct reference to the first paragraph, the first statement, in fact. Going beyond simple literacy, a further mission of the schools is to transmit concepts, networks of concepts, conceptual frameworks, and disciplinary forms of reasoning to their students. So, going beyond simple literacy, a mission of the schools is to teach concepts, their network, their frameworks. So concepts, networks, conceptual frameworks, and disciplinary forms of reasoning to their students. Disciplinary forms of reasoning to their students is a direct reference. This is a mission of the schools, as mentioned right here, a further mission of the schools. This is a valid point, not a valid answer. This is one of the goals that schools have to fulfill in teaching their students. So A can be eliminated. Option B says, present their teaching materials in simple forms, such as lists or definitions, to their students in order for them to memorize and master them. This is a direct reference to the second paragraph. To the extent that these materials are presented simply as lists or definitions to be memorized, they can usually be mastered by students who apply themselves to the task at hand. So simplified materials, lists, definitions that can be memorized and mastered by students can usually be done if students apply themselves to the task at hand. So if students are paying attention. But this is not a valid task, not a goal that schools should have in teaching their students. That we can see from the next line. The curriculum of school ought to go beyond a rehearsal of facts. So this here statement, presented simply as lists or definitions to be memorized, this has been presented as a rehearsal of facts, and the curriculum of school ought to go beyond a rehearsal of facts. Even by the use of the word however, we realize that the correct thing to do here is to make school learning more interesting and not just simplify it in terms that or in forms that students can just memorize and master easily. Rather, the curriculum of the school ought to go beyond just this kind of a rehearsal of facts and introduce students to the ways of thinking used in different disciplines. So we find that option B presents an idea that is not a valid goal, that should not be a goal for schools in teaching their students. So we can qualify B as a valid choice. Option C tells us, design a curriculum of teaching that goes beyond the rehearsal of facts and introduce students to the ways of thinking used in different disciplines. An exact reference to the second line here, curriculum of the school, go beyond rehearsal of facts, introduce students to the ways of thinking used in different disciplines, almost word by word. So this is definitely a goal of schools in teaching their children, not a valid answer. Option D says, expose students to new ways of conceptualizing familiar or unfamiliar entities such as laws of the physical world or the ways in which historians conceptualize events. We see this is a direct reference to the last statement of the second paragraph. Such an introduction would involve exposing students to new ways of conceptualizing familiar or unfamiliar entities, be they the laws that govern objects in the physical world or the ways in which events are conceptualized by historians. In other words, familiar or unfamiliar entities such as laws of the physical world and the ways in which historians conceptualize events. Direct reference here. So again, not exactly word by word, but in essence, very similar, almost the same. So D also is a goal, is a valid goal in teaching students, a goal of the schools in teaching their students. So D can be eliminated. The correct answer is option B.